Hiya, and welcome back to Echo. The game, hmm. I can't think of anything, but, yeah. Okay, let me check the, sheet. The, route sheet, so we know which one we are on. And we are on TJ's route. Okay, so I have a quick question. Do y'all want to do Jenna's or TJ's? TJ does come first, but honestly, I don't really care anymore. 25 videos. Just dedicate to this game. Alright. Bring up the window, and we'll load our game. Right here, I believe. I stand there, next to my chair, undecided. I'm really worried about TJ. He's a sensitive guy, and after a tongue lashing like that from someone like Flynn, I can't imagine what state he's in. I don't see him anywhere as I scan the area, but I do see some trees and bushes further up along the riverbank. Since there's really no other place to hide, I assume that's where he's at. Sure enough, I see him immediately. He's sitting down, knees drawn up with his arms folded on top of them. He's got his forehead resting on top of his arms, staring down at the sand between his legs. I stand there for a moment, wondering if it will just be better to leave him alone. After a few seconds, I finally decide to sit down next to him, cross-legged. His ears flick in my direction, and he turns his head to the left, away from me. I notice a few wet spots between his feet. Maybe he just wants to be left alone now? Should we say something, say nothing, or leave him be? I decide that I need to break the silence. Hey, TJ. He doesn't say anything, or move. You know how Flynn is. He's a dick. Again, silence. Everyone knows he's a dick. No one's mad at you. He does move, then sliding his legs straight and leaning back on his paws. He's still looking away from me, rubbing his face on his shoulder. You want to go back and eat? Finally. I can't believe he did that. In front of everyone. I'm not sure what to say, so I stay quiet. After a minute, TJ finally turns his head, looking into the river. The wind picks up, reflections from the river highlighting motes of dust that swirls up around us. His face fur is a bit mussed up, spiked up in a few places from being wet. It's an unusual sight to see his fur unkempt. I mean, what the heck? Please. TJ, please. For me. Please. Just say fuck. TJ, unable to curse even though it would probably be the best thing for him. It would! Please, for our sake. Just say fuck. He adjusts his legs to sit cross-legged like me and wipes his face again. Did you know what he was talking about? I take in a breath, unsure about how I should approach this. I take in a breath, unsure about how I should approach this. I think so. TJ's ears lower. Listen, no one else thinks anything happened. We were so little, especially you. I mean, I can't believe he's doing this. I trace a claw through the dirt, drawing some wavy patterns as I try to make sense of all this myself. I think it's just because he was such good friends with Sydney, and he just wants more than the truth. I look sideways at TJ. He's just sitting there, looking at the ground. And I guess you were the only one that saw it happened, so he only has you to go after. I saw him drown. I don't say anything, but I feel myself cringe inwardly. Pretty soon tears are running down TJ's face, but he doesn't bother to wipe them away. He's not just sad though, he's angry. I hear it in his voice as he goes on. I saw Sydney drown and Flynn thinks he's the only one that hurts? He thinks that he's the only one that feels like he's in a nightmare? Well, maybe. His voice cracks and he looks away from me again, wiping at his face. Maybe I haven't told him everything because I don't want him to have those images in his head. TJ takes a moment to steady his voice, working to get his breathing back to normal. I just wish I could go back to that day. TJ, there's nothing you could have done. I know my words are meaningless crap, and I hate myself for saying them, but I have to say something. Not one of us would have been able to do anything if we were there. You would have. Well, besides, I already know I couldn't have saved him on my own. This isn't what... TJ takes a moment to wipe his face again, and when he's done, he doesn't go on. We sit in silence for a long while after that, and I adjust myself so that I can lean back against a rock behind me. I pat the ground. Sit next to me, Tej. He's calmed down for the most part, and, after a moment, he does crawl over to sit by me. I pick up a few pebbles and toss them into the river. Remember when we used to call it Seesaw River? Yeah. He leaves it at that, so I drop it. I rest my head back and close my eyes, only then realizing how tired I am. In some way, I can see why Flynn is so suspicious, or at least why he believes there's more to the story. There clearly is, but while I do want TJ to tell me more about what happened, I could never bring myself to ask him. Chase, you fucking liar. I honestly feel that if I ever want to help him with his past, I should probably come to terms with it myself. I crinkle my brow, toying with the idea of going back. It's something I actively avoid thinking about. We all do. But like Jenna said, maybe talking about it, thinking about it, might actually help. I dig my fingers into the pebbles on either side of me. The images come in a quick flurry, like someone cycling through Viewmaster too fast. The sky is getting cloudy, the air crisp. Autumn. TJ sitting in a daze, Jenna running back to town, Flynn pulling me into the water, me grabbing on a neck scruff, pulling back to shore, Carl sitting on a rock, bawling. Leo starts trying to do compressions, and Sydney just stares. Sirens, the helicopter rotors, adults everywhere. I'm home. Mom's holding me. Dad puts on my favorite movie. I watch. But still, Sydney stares. I open my eyes again, and the world is blurred. The light reflecting off the river makes me squint. I rub my eyes with the back of my paw, and it comes away wet. My chest hurts, and so does my head, throbbing and buzzing. I look over, and luckily for me, TJ is leaning back with his eyes closed like I was. If revisiting that day is so horrible for me, I can't imagine what it's like for him. I decide right then and there that I'm not going to press TJ on what happened. If he wants to tell me more, he'll do it on his own accord. I kind of want to swim again, but at the same time I don't. That day really fucked up my view about water. He's ruined the whole trip. TJ speaks suddenly, and I look over at him. Flynn? No, he hasn't. TJ does finally look at me, then, and I'm struck by how disheveled and sad he looks. I feel anger bloom in my chest, all of it directed at Flynn. What a selfish prick, thinking he had the right to ruin everyone's good time just because he felt like shit. If he were here right now, I'm pretty sure I'd punch him right in the gut. Listen, we don't all need to hang out to have fun. We had fun in the park with just you, me, and Carl, remember? If Flynn wants to be a douchebag, then let him. We'll do our own thing. TJ sniffs and I see his tough ears perk up a little. Didn't you want to go hike the trail? He smiles at that and looks at me. You didn't want to hike. I could tell. I grin. That's because it's so friggin' hot, but seriously, we didn't come here to lay in a motel all week. And we can bring water. Just dump it on yourself every half hour. That's how I manage, along with taking plenty of breaks. TJ leans back and spreads his legs out. I can see he's starting to get excited at the prospect of hiking, and that makes me feel better. Well, if you're able to do it, I guess I shouldn't complain. I look over at his fluffy form, which by itself is enough to make me sweat even more than I am already. You know, I always thought you'd go back after you graduated high school. The Great White North. I say it dramatically, nodding upward as if that's where it is. Your parents did. TJ's family moved to Echo when he was only 6 from a small town called Wasachua. His dad got a job in Echo to survey the land or do something with the wildlife. I can't remember exactly what it was. Oh, well, I don't really remember it, but I might after I graduate. They have some things up there that sound really nice. Free healthcare? That, I guess. And snow. For a moment, I wonder if snow is to a lynx as water is to an otter. A lot of snow did sound kind of exciting to me, though. Here we'd be lucky to see a single dusting of it a year. So, you're serious about hiking with me? Of course. I'm gonna bring some of my equipment, too. I think I want to get some shots of the canyon. Okay. He waggles his furry feet back and forth, and I hide a grin at his enthusiasm. Alright, so we're going to have to get up around 6. Oh. I want to be able to make it to the canyon for lunch where we can rest for an hour or two. Then, you can tell how excited TJ is by how much he talks. Well, if anyone's good at planning things out at a ridiculously meticulous level, it's TJ. We sit there for another 20 minutes or so and just talk, mostly about school and what our plans are once we graduate. I promise TJ that we'll meet up again before I do. That's when I get a text from Jenna asking where we are. I stand up, brushing off my pants before reaching down to help TJ up. Well, we better go back. Guess they're all wondering where we are. When we get back, everything's packed up and in the van, along with Carl and Jenna. Leo's leaning against the van, waiting for us, his paws in his pockets. He looks at me, then over at TJ, obviously trying to gauge his mood. Everything good? Yeah. TJ answers before I can, and whether or not he actually is okay, he sounds happy enough. Well, alright then. We get in the van at that point, no one saying anything as we make the short drive back to the motel. As we get out, Leo tells us all that he's going to have a word with Flynn, and despite the spoiled afternoon, we still had stuff to do over the week. I'm not too convinced myself that will happen. I am convinced that it's going to be awkward as fuck if we do. Leo leaves for work at that point, but Carl does end up coming in with us to the motel room. The rest of the day is pretty uneventful. We watch a few movies, then go to the diner for dinner. Afterwards, we just sit in the room and talk, Carl filling us in on how things have been in the town over the past 3 years. It's not long before the conversation drifts back to Flynn and his outburst. I think he's just antsy because he's realizing how shitty it's been without you guys. Trust me, he's already kicking himself for it right now. Even if he is, it doesn't mean anything unless he apologizes. Aw, you know how he is, Jenna. He's sorry even if he won't say it. I don't care. He's going to have to realize that none of us have to put up with him anymore. Hey, why don't we all get some ice cream? I've been wanting to go to Ray's ever since we got here. It's hard to tell if TJ is just trying to change the subject or actually wants ice cream. Probably both. If you want to drive half an hour to Peyton, sure. What? Why? They moved it there. It sucks. I haven't had the rocky road for a year now. Aw. Well, let's just stop by when we go to Peyton next. I assume we aren't staying in Echo for the rest of the trip. Ooh, Chase, can you take us? I just smile at him from my spot on the couch. Sure, why not? Yes! I love the cookie dough. What about you, Jenna? Jenna's busy looking at her phone. Oh, well, I've always enjoyed their butter almond. It's hard to find that flavor anywhere else. TJ looks at me and I open my mouth to answer. But for a moment, I draw a blank. The memories of Ray's hazy and blurred. My head is still buzzing. Oh, vanilla. I've been feeling pretty shitty ever since I'd had that talk with TJ by the river. I make a mental note to steal some of Jenna's aspirin before I go to bed. Well, Flynn was right about one of us, at least. Carl! What's wrong with that? Everyone likes vanilla. I grin, even though Carl's comment hurts me more than it should. He's just joking after all. But I mean, who loves it, right? Personality of a rock. I think it's a good answer, especially if you put toppings on it. The buzzing picks up, and I feel a dull pulse behind my eyes. 3 of them continue to talk amongst themselves as I lean my head back against the couch. I close my eyes, trying to will away the pounding in my head. I open my eyes. The room is dark. Jenna's in her bed, TJ is in his, Carl's wrapped in a blanket on the floor. I lurch for my camera bag, then look around wide-eyed. I sit on the bed next to TJ and stare at the door. TJ stands at the edge of the lake, staring across to the other side. He has one paw in his pocket, the other holding a beer. He takes a drink from it. TJ doesn't drink beer. He pulls the tab off the top, then flicks it towards the lake. It whizzes like a weed cutter, skipping across the water and kicking up spray. Suddenly, his ears snap up and he sees something I don't. He turns and starts to run. He's at a dead sprint when his leg snaps out from under him and he falls to the rocks, beer splashing everywhere. A chain is pulling taut from the lake, connected to his ankle. I get up, wanting to help, but I can't. I look down, my wrist and ankle chained. Tuesday. Don't know why I thought it would say Wednesday. I don't know why. The sun is bright and I'm pretty sure I can smell the fur searing in the top of my head. It's the end of March, so it's not nearly as bad as it can be, but being right under the sun like this... You've only been on the trail for about 10 minutes at this point, but I'm already regretting it. Chase? TJ, who's about 5 feet ahead of me, turns around. It's at that point that I realize he said something and I have no idea what it is. Everything okay? Yeah, sorry. What did you say? He looks concerned and walks back towards me. Remember, if you have a headache or feel sick to your stomach, if you start feeling like you're not yourself, don't worry, I'm fine. I try to give him a smile to show it's true, but he's already in the process of unscrewing a bottle of water from his backpack. No, wait, you don't have... He dumps half of it over my head and I hurriedly unshoulder my camera bag. Watch the equipment! Sorry, Chase, but you're not having a heat stroke on my watch. I swear he's so fucking precious. You know I've studied otter physiology. You guys don't do well in dry, hot environments. He's pretty close to me, having to dump the bottle over my head. I keep holding the bag away from my body while I look down at him, water dripping from my whiskers. Otter physiology? Yeah. It's like your body, its parts, and what they do. It's a little awkward that TJ knows how my body works, for some reason. Huh, so like, you've studied all our parts? The attempt at humor is weak in the first place, but I realize it's too late that I'm talking to TJ and that he probably wouldn't have laughed even if it was funny. He looks a little taken aback. Oh, well, yeah, we all have different anatomy, so it's important to... He trails off and I can tell that he's blushing. He frowns at me. Are you making fun of me? What? No, I was just trying... He turns away suddenly and starts back up the trail. We should keep going. It's an all-day hike. I follow him quietly. It's hard to judge the type of expression he just had on his face. It wasn't exactly angry, more flustered. I'm pretty sure it's because he knows I like guys. Even in college, my straight male friends get uncomfortable when I joke about sex, like they think I'm coming on to them. TJ's never told me how he feels about my sexuality. In fact, I know nothing about his sexuality. I think he dated one girl in high school, but that fell apart pretty quick. She had problems fitting in, so he befriended her. Obviously, she took it as him liking her, so she asked him out. TJ, of course, couldn't say no. He's always on a quest to make other people happy. Anyway, he definitely isn't homophobic. He seemed really happy for me when he found out I was going out with Leo, and he seemed really sad when he found out that we broke up. He doesn't exactly follow any particular Christian denomination that I know of. He hasn't even weighed in on the whole Jesus species debate. From what I can gather, TJ just likes the spirituality of the whole thing. Once Leo told me that TJ is the type of Christian that Christians always say they are, but definitely aren't. I have to agree. 2 hours later, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to die. Hold up. So we go from Chase talking about how TJ's a Christian to he thinks he's going to die. And that went from 0 to 100 real fucking quick. I'm practically stumbling after TJ. The link's 15 feet ahead of me. He doesn't even notice either, cheerfully marching up along the steep trail and over rocks as if they aren't even there. I'm dying. Literally dying. My foot slips and I faceplant. I lay there, waiting for TJ's god to take me. I don't know. I was searching for like a picture of God just looking down. I don't know. Chase! I hear some stumbling and TJ slides up next to my body, sending a cascade of gravel over my head. Oh my gosh, are you okay? I hear the telltale sound of an unscrewing bottle. I turn my head to the side. No. A gush of water hits me right in the face and I jerk up, sputtering and wiping at my eyes. For the love of God, TJ, stop it. Let's get you some shade. He grabs me around the arms and starts dragging me towards a big boulder. Calm down, I can walk. Are you sure? Yes. TJ's looking incredibly worried right now, hovering over me as I make my way to sit against the boulder. Dude, I'm fine. I'm just tired. I don't know how you do it. TJ keeps watching me, and once I sit down, he kneels next to me, then runs his paw through the fur on my forehead, feeling it with his paw pads. You're a little warm. We should rest here a bit. He takes out another bottle of water. It's like he brought 50 of the damn things. We should probably get your clothes wet. I put a paw on his shoulder. TJ, calm down. I'm fine. You sure? Because... TJ! He stops babbling and looks me in the eye. The water bottle in one paw, the cap in the other. What's up? He looks at me for a second, then breaks eye contact, slowly screwing the cap back on the bottle. Sorry, I just want to make sure you're okay. I'm the one that asked you to come. Relax, I'm just being a little dramatic. Alright, if you're sure. I am, but I could use a drink. He hands me the bottle. Good idea. Have you been making sure to drink a lot? I have plenty. Yep, my piss is crystal clear. TJ's muzzle quirks as I take a long draught of water from the bottle. I cap it and burp. You know what? I think it's because I'm starving. When are we going to eat? Not yet. We have to make it to the top first. I have some granola bars, though. Ew, dude. I'm hungry for real food. It is real food. Anyway, it'll be so much better if we do it at the top. Besides, this is the hardest part, and it's almost over. It's all downhill after this. Literally. I can tell he's getting anxious to start moving again, so I take one last gulp and get up. I don't get how you're so damn unaffected by the heat. Oh, I am. I'm just keeping wet. While he talks, he starts pouring water on his shirt. It sticks slick to his torso, showing off his tight chest and flat stomach, his navel a dark indent through the fabric. I make sure I don't stare too long, not wanting to make him feel awkward again. Either way, I can feel my crotch area getting a little tight. Being in a hotel room with two other people didn't exactly give me much time to relieve stress. Let me just... How do I rotate this? Transform. Rotate 90. And then I'll do it again. Motherfucker. There we go. Yeah, fuck. There we go. I'm just going to leave this here for now. Maybe my straight friends did have reason to be wary. I keep my eyes focused on TJ's. I guess it's how you can keep moving like you do, here in the middle of the desert. Well, I run a few miles from the track every day at school. Jeez! We start up the trail again, TJ sticking by my side now. I feel bad about holding him back, but at least now it's less likely I'm going to eat shit again. We did it! TJ looks over the view as I stagger up behind him. Okay, can I just group these together? And now I can just hide that permanently. I'm not as beaten up as I was earlier, but my legs are really starting to kill me. I lean over with my paws on my knees, panting. Swimming is definitely a better way to work out. TJ turns on me abruptly and I straighten up, smiling. He holds up both his paws, grinning. High five! I slap them with gusto and TJ laughs, pulling off his backpack and sitting down on a rocky bench. I look at it, a little confused. What's this? A rock bench. It's always been here. I think some seniors from the old school made it. See? He scoots over, pointing at the back, and I look closer. Etched out in large letters and numbers, it says, Echo High, Class of 59. They used to paint the year on the canyon, too. You can still see some of them. Sure enough, I see some white lines on the canyon. Well, a 52 here, a 72 there. The school closed after 1980, so I assume there's nothing after that. I sit next to him and lean my head back, closing my eyes. While the hike had been a massive bitch, I still don't regret coming. Not just for TJ's sake, but also because there's something nice about being isolated like this. Like we're the only people on Earth. I feel a weight fall on my lap and look down, expecting to see a tasty sandwich. Instead, I find a big, fat, hairy tarantula. I freeze as my brain processes what's going on. Then I scream and take a swipe at it, at the same time doing a sort of spastic dance to the right. I slide off the bench and onto the ground where I roll several times to get it away. Holy fucking shit, son of a bitch! I roll to my feet and stumble back further away from the bench, eyes scanning the ground for the giant-ass spider that is sure to be after. That's when I realize TJ's laughing. Chase, calm down. It's... He holds up the giant spider, its frozen rigidness telling me what he couldn't finish. Fake? TJ's still laughing, but I'm still hugging myself, shivering and flinching every time I see something spindly. I'm shocked, but not because of what happened, but because TJ did it to me. Fucking TJ. Feeling betrayed, I glare at him as he beckons me with a paw, wiping at his eyes with the other. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. But Jenna made me promise her that I'd do it. That figures. Jenna's the type to always play pranks, and yeah, I hate to say it, but it's because she's a fox. That's real speciesist of you. I rub my arms up and down with my paws, shivering again. I can't believe you! You know how much I hate spiders! One of my worst fears has always been that of a tarantula getting in my room. I used to regularly shake out the bed sheets when I found out that they lived in Echo. I'm sorry, I thought you might not even fall for it. You know the ones around here are blonde, right? Yeah, TJ, that's the first thing that comes to mind when I see a fucking spider on my lap. His ears do lower at that point, and he stops laughing, though I can tell he's trying not to smile. Listen, Chase, I'm sorry. Let's eat. I know you're hungry. Hold up for a goddamn minute. I knew there was something off about them. They're not wearing shoes. That and they have feet or something. My stomach is painfully hollow right now, so I slowly walk back to the bench. I try hard not to be such a spoilsport as I reach out to take my plastic-wrapped sandwich from TJ. He squirts some hand sanitizer from a little bottle on my paws first before he lets me. We share a bag of chips and eat quietly for a few minutes, just taking in the nature. Still, even out here I'm able to hear the train horns. I feel bad about the silence, though, since I'm worried TJ will think that I'm mad at him. I mean, I'm annoyed, but he's just too damn innocent to actually be angry with. The sun's beating straight down on us at this point, and it's uncomfortable being feeling my semi-damp fur rubbing up against my semi-damp shirt rubbing up against my fur. Setting aside my food for a moment, I strip off my shirt, the wetness giving me a bit of trouble. As I do this, TJ stiffens up next to me. I look over at him, and right away it's pretty clear he's trying not to look at me. I wonder if TJ is just one of those guys that's embarrassed about showing any kind of fur. He only ever took off his shirt to swim, and even then, he always seemed embarrassed about it. At that moment, both our paws slide into the chip bag at the same time, and TJ jumps, pulling his paw away. I look over at him, quirking an eyebrow. Sorry. For what? Never mind. I watch him take out his phone and look over his messages. When he turns the screen off, he pauses. I realize he's looking at his reflection, adjusting the fur on his face, pawing at both sides until he seems satisfied. Again, this is something he did when he was much younger, back when he was obsessed with his cheek ruffs being perfectly even. I don't say anything, though, and just keep eating, bouncing one of my knees up and down. It's damn awkward and I can't figure out why. Usually it's really easy to talk to TJ, mostly because he had a lot of things to talk about. I try to think of something to say. Remember when I made fun of you for the way you used to say sorry? TJ gives a bright, high-pitched laugh, and that makes me relax, feeling like I just broke the ice on a first date. Yeah, it's one of the first things you said to me. I was trying so hard to fit in, and you just put me on the spot in front of everyone. The scene plays out in my mind as TJ talks, the image of a 7-year-old lynx, looking way too small for his puffy winter fur. He just backed into me while trying to catch a ball thrown by Leo and had turned around full of smiles. Sorry. That's fucking adorable. I pointed and laughed. Don't you mean sorry? That mortified look followed by what would become TJ's trademark run back home crying. I must have practiced that word 100 times when I got back home. There's a little pang in my heart at the image of a kid TJ saying sorry over and over again, trying to get trying to get it right. Well, I'm sorry for making fun of you for it. Why? It was so long ago. Besides, you were just assimilating me into the culture. Sort of. If it makes you feel better, Leo did get mad at me after you ran away. TJ's having trouble keeping his lettuce-wrapped turkey together. So, are you and him, doing alright? I think so. We had a good talk a few days ago. That's good. He gives up on holding the wrap together and instead just starts picking up the remnants from the plastic. Were you lonely after you left? I try not to act surprised that TJ's asking me these questions. Yeah, really lonely. Had a terrible first semester. What about now? Kind of. I guess I just haven't been able to find someone I connect with like I did Leo. Then again, the GSA at the university is practically dead, so who knows? Maybe after I graduate. We eat in silence for a while longer, and though it's less awkward, I'm still trying to figure out what brought TJ to ask me those questions. I crumple up the plastic and toss it in my backpack before getting up. Alright, now I gotta find a good view to get my shots. Shouldn't take too long. Oh, there's a great view of the canyon just up the trail there. He gestures in that direction with a half-eaten wrap. I wave to let him know I heard, and make my way up the trail. The town's namesake isn't much of a canyon. You probably wouldn't even realize it is one without being told. I sidle up close to the edge as I'm willing, taking a look over the side. Hold up. Feet press pebbles over the side. They clatter down the edge of the cliff. It's dizzying, and I dig my toes into the rocks, feeling as if I'm going to tip over. Tears and rain mingle, finally letting go, going limp, wind giving the final push. I back away. Impact instead of release. Pain. I feel the buzzing starting up in my head again, and I sigh as I bend over and reach into my camera bag. I almost wish I could stay here until sunset, since the canyon would make a great backdrop for it. But I definitely don't want to hike back in the middle of the night. It doesn't take long, and about 5 minutes later, I've got all the footage I need. Hiking all this way definitely isn't worth it, but of course, that's not the reason why I did it. You finished? TJ walks up behind me as I'm bending over to put my camera away. Yup. He hands me a water bottle, and I take it from him gratefully, pouring it over my head and chest, the fur flattening down over my body. TJ looks at my torso, his muzzle quirking at the corner a bit. You know, you kind of look like Jared Grease. I raise an eyebrow at him. The survivalist from the Wilderness Channel? What, just because I'm out in the wilderness and shirtless? Well, you saying all otters look the same? No, I mean, not just because you're an otter. I mean, your bodies are... Again, TJ's got me questioning certain things about him. TJ, I'm kidding. Yeah, right, of course. He rubs his shoulder sheepishly as he slowly walks up to the edge next to me. Wow. He gets closer to the cliff, though he does it in a manner in which he's spread out his legs and arms, bracing himself against the ground. He peers over the side, looking absolutely ridiculous. We're so high up! I smirk, sneaking up behind him. What should we do to TJ? But keep in mind... I grin, then suddenly slap both of my paws on his shoulders. Ah! He fluffs out to twice his size almost instantly and flails around like a goat. Though I'm sure to keep my grip firmly on his shoulders, one of his windmilling paws catches me in the stomach. My laughing is cut off in a grunt, and I quickly pull him back before he can accidentally launch it. No, you misunderstand. I think. I don't know. I don't know if he'll land on his feet, considering he does not have normal feet, considering he has people feet. And people feet are not cat feet. Okay, I don't know why, but I just imagine. Okay, I just imagine like TJ just like getting scared and just like jumping off the cliff. Just like accidentally jumping off the cliff. He's screaming at the top of his lungs. I don't know why I find that I don't know why I find that funny. My laughing is cut off in a grunt, and I quickly pull him back before he can accidentally launch himself off the cliff. Jesus, TJ, calm down. His waving paws finally latch onto my fur, and before I know it, he's got his arms wrapped around my body. I stumble back, clinging to him as well. We stand like that for a few seconds, and I can't help but feel guilty a little. Can't help but guilty feel a little tighten in the pants again. It doesn't last long, though, and soon TJ lets go and swats me in the chest with the back of his paw. Are you kidding me, Chase? How could you? I'd respond, but I'm busy trying to stop. TJ wipes his paws on his pants. You got all your sweat on me. Is that what he's upset about? Hey, you didn't think I'd get you back after that tarantula prank? It wasn't real. I could have died. Calm down. You're safe now. I put a paw around his shoulder and pull him in close. He tenses up, but does relax after a few seconds. You're all wet and sweaty. I just reread the chat. Okay, now I'm just imagining him like superhero landing. Like, you'll air dry. We stand there a while, not really ready to head back yet. That's when TJ lets out a sudden loud yell that almost makes me jump out of my fur. Yaw. Yas. I put both paws over my ears. TJ, what the frick? He frowns. Where's the echo? Huh? It's called Echo Canyon. Isn't it supposed to echo? Oh, hey! I yell too, TJ lowering his ears a bit as we wait for the response. His ears perk. I think I heard it. Maybe we're just in the wrong area. But we're like right in front of it. TJ leans forward as if that will help, then cups his paws around his muzzle before yelling as loud as he can. Yeah! This time I do hear a return. It's muffled, scratchy, ugly. But it's an echo, alright. TJ makes a face. Ugh, that sounded kinda creepy. Well, what did you expect? Everything's shit crappy here. Including echoes. Blah. Again, we're answered with the raspy, ugly response, my voice twisted and distorted. Seems a bit silly to name the entire town after that. I think it fits. I grunt as I sit down, spreading out my legs with a sigh. TJ does the same, except with his legs crossed. You really hate this place, don't you? He looks sideways at me. You don't? Of course not. All of my best friends are from here. I mean, some of it is bad, but why let the bad taint the good? I make a non-committal grunting sound. I wish we all could have come up here. He really does look disappointed, and I feel bad about that. What? I'm not good enough? TJ giggles. I really am glad you came. It means a lot. It would have been pretty lonely otherwise. I look over at him, and he's looking me right in the eye. His powder blue gaze is really pretty with the sunlight hitting it like that. He's smiling, and I smile back. Suddenly his phone buzzes. He breaks eye contact to adjust his sitting position so he can get it out of his pocket. Probably Jenna checking in on... I turn to look back at him when he goes quiet. He's furrowing his brow at the phone, as if trying to figure out what it says. Everything alright? Slowly his face relaxes, but now his expression is dull, his eyes glazed over. TJ? I start to lean sideways to get a look at what the message might be, but TJ quickly shoves it back into his pocket. Nothing! Just a long message from my mom. I can tell right away he's lying, which is fucking crazy, because I don't think TJ's ever lied to me. At least not so easily. Is it bad? No, just something about when I come home for the summer. Oh, okay. It's weird because I know he's lying, and he probably knows I know he's lying, but still here we are, playing along. He stares quietly at the canyon for a few seconds, and stands up, brushing himself off. Alright, let's go. The cheerfulness in his voice is forced. It just sounds like he's about to cry. Like I said, it's all downhill from here. Literally. He turns away quickly and starts back down the trail, wiping his face. I hang back, wanting to give him time to get over what it is that's bothering him. I wonder if it's something to do with family, like a grandparent passing away or something. I'd feel too intrusive asking about it now, so I decide to put it off until tomorrow. The hike back is, like TJ said, literally downhill, so it's way easier than coming up. TJ's still a little overbearing, making sure I have water and dumping a few unsolicited bottles over my head. Even then, he's still acting a bit detached. I try to stay upbeat though, and since TJ's never been one to sulk for long, I get him warmed back up pretty quick. By the time we get back to the car, he's in a talkative mood again. So I'm thinking we get Jenna and go to the diner for dinner. Sound good? Sure, I'll text her. I reach out to turn on the radio, then I remember where we are. So now that we've got hiking out of the way, what are we going to do for the rest of the trip? We've got like 3 days left. TJ rests his elbow against the door, tugging at the fur on his chin. Well, there are more trails than just that one. We could hike those too. I cringe inwardly at the thought of more hiking, but I don't say anything, and I'm pretty sure TJ knows I'm not into it. But you still need to do stuff for your project too, right? I could help you with any research you might need to do. Maybe. It's pretty boring stuff. Well, the work, yeah, but hanging out together would make it fun. I grin at his eagerness. Well, alright, but I warn you, it's a pain in the ass. Butt. TJ smirks at me. Chase, you don't have to try so hard. Anyway, I just want to help. Turns out Jenna just walked from the motel to the diner, not really wanting to wait for us. Me and TJ step inside, greeted by the smell of what you'd expect in any diner. Burgers and fries. I'm flooded with old memories. It's a place that I had gone to eat every weekend for over 10 years of my life. I smile, despite myself. While I complained a lot about Echo, this place held incredibly happy memories, most of which involved my 5 friends. We see Jenna right away as she steps out from a booth next to the door. Hey, boys. Hey. Sup? We make our way over to the booth, TJ sitting on the opposite bench, while Jenna steps back to let me pass and sit next to her. She wrinkles her nose as I do. Ooh, maybe you should have showered before you got here. Thanks, Jenna. TJ probably smells too. Nah, he smells fine. Of course he does. Thanks, Jenna. And don't blame Chase. Otters are, naturally musky. I decide not to say anything and instead pull a menu out of the menu holder and flip through it. The table is greasy, so I try not to lean anything on it. So, did you guys have fun? Yeah, made it all the way to the top. We did it faster than I thought we would, actually. Did you know? Yeah, he really freaked out. I knew it. Did you film it? No. What? That's the reason you pull pranks. Why didn't you film it? I forgot. I glare at the menu. Shouldn't let her corrupt you so easily, TJ. I try to think of some Satan metaphor that I can use, but that's when the giant plastic spider lands with a smack on top of the menu I'm looking at. Okay, let me look up like a Satan metaphor. Satan metaphor. Pranks. I don't know. Something. Hail Satan. I can't help myself and shove the menu and spider away from myself to fall over onto TJ's bench. I look up and see Jenna's filming me with her phone, grinning. Stop it! I half-heartedly grab at the phone, but Jenna easily pulls it away. Oh my word, is that Chase? I look up to see the middle-aged coyote making her way back from the back kitchen and around the counter. Hi, Janice. I fucking love Janice. And Jenna and Tobias, too. I smile politely, only now realizing how loud our bantering must be in the small diner. Now, what in the world are y'all doing back here? I thought we wouldn't see you again after your graduation. I've known Janice as long as I can remember, her having always worked in this diner. In fact, she started here when she was about our age. Just like most of the town, though, once you're comfortable, you don't move much. Chase is filming the town for a school project. We decided to make it a little reunion out of it. Well, isn't that nice? I'll bet Leo's mighty happy. He's been talking non-stop about you three since y'all left. Yeah, he pretty much organized the whole thing. Janice suddenly makes a face. Phew-wee! It's ripe over here. My face burns and I sit harder on my tail, staring at the menu. You know, I think Duke sat here. Forgot to spray the scent neutralizer. You know how weasels are. I feel Jenna stiffen up next to me, but thank God she doesn't say anything. Yeah. Anyway, how have you been, Janice? Janice leans her hip against TJ's bench, clasping her paws and leaning an elbow on the back of it. Oh, can't complain. You haven't missed anything, trust me. Actually, I've been meaning to do a little spring cleaning. Not looking forward to it. My back doesn't bend like it always did. All the small talk niceties and speciesism is starting to make me zone out when suddenly TJ pipes up. We'll help! Janice beams. Well, you know I could never ask that of you, especially while you're on vacation. TJ chuckles. Actually, me and Chase were talking about how we had nothing to do. I think it's a great idea. I can see from Jenna's tight smile that she's feeling exactly the way I am. TJ and his goddamn need to be a good Samaritan. Oh, Tobias, you're an incredible young man. You know that? I just wanted to be of help, ma'am. When can we come over? Oh, I don't know. How does sometime tomorrow evening sound when it's nice and cool? Sure. Well, thanks again, Toby. You're really one of a kind. TJ beams up at her, then at me, then frowns as he sees the look on my face. Now, what can I get for you? After Janice takes our orders, she bustles off back to the back, leaving me and Jenna to glare at TJ. TJ at first pretends he doesn't notice and starts to adjust the salt and pepper shakers, trying to place them evenly between the menu holder. That was nice seeing her again. We don't say anything. Finally, tension becomes too much and he gives up on the salt and pepper shakers to look up at us. What? You know exactly what. We didn't come here to clean up Echo's mess. Speaking of which, Jenna reaches past me to grab a towelette and starts wiping our table, wrinkling her snout. Disgusting. There's no harm in helping someone. Chase, you told me you didn't know what else we could do. TJ starts to doodle on a napkin with one of the coloring pencils from the pack they leave on the tables. He's so fucking precious. Honestly, Tej, I'd rather hike another trail. Please don't. I'm marinating in your otter musk right now. God damn it. Oh my god. Chase! Glaring, I nudge Jenna to slide off the bench so I can get out. When she does, I stomp my way over to the single restroom. I sigh as I let the heavy door ease shut behind me, pressing on the push-button style lock. The quiet coolness is a welcome relief, even if it is a restroom. I put my palms to my eyes and rub them in circular motions, trying to ease the headache that has been building up since the afternoon. I stand in front of the sink and run my paws under the faucet for a while before bringing some water up to my face. It feels good, but the headache continues to pound. In fact, it feels like it's getting worse. I squint at the mirror, the light suddenly becoming too bright for my eyes. Is this a migraine? I've never had one before. Have I? I continue staring at my face, feeling the pressure build. Pretty soon, there's a strange sound in my ears, like a tuning orchestra, and I feel my heart rate pick up. What the hell? Is this a stroke? Am I having a stroke? At that moment, looking at myself in the mirror, my eyes just drop. They move in towards the center of my face. At the same time, the sides of my muzzle curve up unbelievably high, giving me a ghastly smile, one that goes up and up past the top of my head. Fleetingly, I remember playing with my laptop's camera once, putting on some effects so that my face would distort in ridiculous ways. It looks almost exactly like that. Then the earth gives way, falls out from under me, and my paw slaps the sink as I hold on to it to stop from falling sideways into the wall. The fuck? My voice squeaks as I try to find my footing. I shut my eyes to stop myself from throwing up, and slowly the roaring dies down and I feel myself regain my balance. I crack my eyes open and I see my face is back to normal, the light at a tolerable level again. I open my eyes the rest of the way and stare at myself, my reflection staring wide-eyed back. I'm breathing hard, my chest heaving, pupils dilated. Looking down at my knuckles, I see the skin is white through the fur. I slowly let go of the sink and look at my shaking paws. What the hell? My muzzle is dry and I swallow a few times. I take a drink, but I don't trust the dirty faucet. After a few moments, I'm able to calm down, realizing that I'm probably not dying. In fact, my head feels pretty clear at the moment. I'm pretty sure it was a migraine. Migraines can do that to people, right? I draw in a shaky breath again before grabbing a few paper towels from the dispenser. I run them lightly under the water, adding a few pumps of foamy soap as well. Mom has migraines all the time. I'll call her about it tomorrow. Oh my god, are we finally going to meet Chase's mom? Oh my god. Able to keep my paws steady now, I run the soaped-up towel under my arms a few times. After a quick look to make sure the door is locked, I undo my belt and push down my pants and boxers to around my thighs. If I really want to take care of the musk smell, I'm going to have to go down under. I run a few more paper towels under the faucet and soap dispenser. Just as I'm sliding the towel against my tailbase, I hear a knock and a lever-style handle rattle. I jump and look back, not really worried since I know it's locked. Because this place is a fucking piece of shit, I'm just in time to see the button lock pop out. Handle swings down and the door opens enough for Lynx's head to poke through. There I am, pants down, a paper towel under my tail, looking like I'm wiping... There I am, pants down, a paper towel under my tail, looking like I'm wiping my ass while I'm moving my Christian best friend. I think we stay like that for at least 10 seconds before TJ blinks first. Oh my gosh, sorry. He squeaks it out so fast I barely hear it before he yanks his head out and the door closes with a snap. Fuck. I snarl between my teeth as I scrub myself and throw away the towel. I feel like I'm gonna cry. It's like the entire universe is conspiring against me right now. I sigh and wash my hands, realizing that the longer I delay going out there, the stupider I'm going to look. When I come back out, I see TJ stand up immediately, eyes straight as we walk past each other before he heads into the bathroom. Jenna stands up to let me back into the booth. Everything alright? Yup. That was so fucked. As we sit back down, Jenna sips from her glass of water, then starts sucking on an ice cube. So I know TJ had fun, but did you? I drum my fingers on the table, still feeling a bit numb from embarrassment. Yeah, it was fine, about as miserable as I thought it would be, so no surprises. Honestly, I actually kind of wish I'd gone with you two. Oh yeah? Then I remembered that AC is a thing, so I didn't feel that way anymore. At least you're built for that kind of weather. True, but doesn't mean I have to like it. So, what'd you do? Sit around all day? I studied for a while, then Flynn and Leo came by, actually. Oh, really? Yeah, they wanted to have lunch with us. Leo was pretty disappointed when he found out you weren't there. They brought a bunch of presents for Carl and had me choose which one I wanted to give him. How thoughtful. Jenna shrugs. Anyway, Flynn was pretty quiet. She doesn't say anything more, so I press her. Oh? Yeah, just kind of subdued. I guess he might be feeling sorry. I don't know. Well, here's hoping he comes around. Anyway, they're planning a surprise birthday party for Carl. Isn't that not for a few weeks? Yeah, but we want to have it while we're all here. Jenna drags a drop of condensation around the outside of her glass for a moment. Just between you and me, and don't tell TJ this because I told him I wouldn't tell you, but he said he was really glad to have you along. He says you're what he misses most about this town. Aww. Really? That kind of surprises me. We're really good friends, but to say I was what he missed most? I look outside. Again, the sky is painted red, orange, and what almost looks like purple. He drew this so I could see what happened when he pranked you, to make up for not recording it. I look back down at the table as Jenna slides over the napkin TJ had been doodling on. A stick figure with a thick tail, I assume meat, is lying on the ground, his mouth bigger than his face as he screams. Next to him is a giant spider. Standing over them both is a stick figure with big tufted ears. I assume TJ. With big tufted ears, I assume TJ. With his stick arms put up over his face, clearly feeling guilty. Cute. Isn't it though? Despite my sarcasm, I really do think it's cute. Especially the TJ figure. Shit. What? Forgot my purse. She stands up. I'll be right back. Oh, why? I'll pay for you. Don't worry about it. The motel's like 5 minutes away. You can pay me back. But she's already out the door. I sigh, watching her make her way down the road through the windows. That's when TJ slides back onto his bench. I quickly look down, feeling my cheeks burn all over again. Sorry about that. Just wanted to wash up too. I don't know why, considering TJ looks kempt no matter what he does. I force myself to look up. Funny drawing. He looks at the napkin and gives me a little laugh. Oh, she showed that to you? Wait, where'd she go? Forgot her purse. Oh. We sit in unbearably awkward silence for a while before I finally sigh and lean my face against a paw as I stare hard out the window. Okay, so I wasn't wiping my ass. You know otters have glands. Chase! I look over at TJ and he's smiling. I know, I shouldn't have opened the door. You were just taking a while and we were wondering if you were alright. I look up as I see Janice making her way over, our food on a giant tray. I guess it's really the lock's fault. Oh, having problems with the restroom door? Make sure it's jammed shut real tight. Should lock then. Thanks. As the plates are set down, I'm faintly surprised at the portion sizes. I'm not used to getting this much in the city. Janice immediately bustles off to another customer. And you know, I look up for my giant sandwich and fries, grabbing the ketchup bottle. It was kind of cute. TJ immediately looks down, pretending to read the menu even though we've already ordered our food. I feel like my brows are almost going to shoot off my forehead as I stare at him. What does Applewood smoked even mean? Oh no, you're not getting off that easy. Did you just call my butt cute? No! TJ's ears fall flat, and I'm kind of satisfied that he's the one feeling embarrassed right now. I just like, otters have cute tails. That's all. I snort. Yeah, I can see by the way you drew mine here. Sorry. Don't be. So yeah, I'm testing the waters here. It's been a while since I've played this game with a guy. Who the fuck thought the next one would be TJ? But here I am. I keep looking over at TJ, waiting for him to look up. Finally, he does look up at me for a moment, and we lock eyes. I smirk and he smiles in return before looking back down. Well, that's something. I sit on a big rock next to the shore, watching the tiny waves lap at the smaller rocks. Across the lake, maybe a half mile away, I see my friends, all of them, floating on something. It's my car. In the wrong of my car. Leo's driving. He's got sunglasses on. Even from this distance, I can see him look across the lake at me. He waves, then makes a finger gun, shoots it at me, making a clicking sound with his tongue. Flynn sits next to him, head back, sleeping. Carl's drawing on his face. Jenna sits in the back and reads, and TJ? Where's TJ? There he is. He's swimming after the car. Excuse me, what the hell? What the fuck? Colors fall flat, and I feel sticky and sick. Something isn't right. I'm at the canyon again. Looking over the edge, TJ's on the ground. He's staring at me, maggots in his eyes. Something moves in the bushes next to him. Something. A paw. Is that a paw? Reaches out towards TJ. The lake. I'm staring at the lake, but the day is clear, the sky is blue, and there are things in the water. 5, 6 things float in the water. Bodies. bodies float in the water. I watch the bodies float, bobbing up and down, and one looks really familiar. This isn't right. This isn't me. What is this? Something across the lake. I see something across the lake. There's a tool shed. A tool shed is across the lake, and I see the door open. There isn't a tool shed next to the lake. Something steps out. Okay, I was like terrified for a minute. Apparently, no one can get in touch with him. Jenna leans back against the dresser, running a brush through the fur on her neck and head, still a little damp from the shower. Did they try his landline? Maybe he just muted his phone. He sleeps in like every day. Jenna shrugs. I'm going to assume that they have. So no one told him he was going to have a party. Jenna turns around and leans towards the mirror above the dresser, brushing away loose fur. It's a surprise party, right? I guess. It's just that it's not really his birthday. Jenna sighs. It's just an excuse to do something in this shitty town. I see Jenna glance at the door to the bathroom as if worried TJ can hear her curse, even with the shower running. I let out my own sigh. Well, I'm sorry I dragged you here, Jenna. I thought it would be fun as all. Jenna finishes whatever she's doing in the mirror and turns back around to face me. Hey, it's not the town I came to see. It was you guys. Yeah, well, you don't seem very happy about that either. Jenna frowns. If I didn't want to be around you guys, I'd have left by now. I have friends in Peyton that could take me to the bus stop. I don't say anything, choosing to lean back on the bed and close my eyes, still tired from the fucked up dreams I had last night. Sorry, I'll stop complaining. I massage my forehead with one hand. It's still the beginning of the week. We've got time to turn this around. It's really just Flynn. I look over at her. Is he coming? Yup, Leo said he had a talk with him, so... I mean, Flynn gets over stuff pretty quick. I think it won't be awkward if we don't let it be. Jenna looks at the shower door, the sound of the dryer blowing loudly behind it. It's not really Flynn that I'm worried about, the things he said to TJ. I rub my eyes. If it gets to that point, me and TJ will just cut out early and go somewhere else, maybe Janice's place. I open my eyes to look at Jenna. You going with us? Jenna smirks at me. I think I have some studying to do. Oh, come on. Anyway, what if Flynn has another... She immediately cuts herself off as the door suddenly cracks open. I see one of TJ's blue eyes looking through the opening. The eye widens and the door quickly closes again. Suddenly, it swings back open and the lynx comes striding out in just his pants. Excuse me, Jenna. Jenna moves over and TJ reaches into one of the drawers to pull out a polo shirt. Forgot my shirt. He mumbles before turning back around and hurrying to the bathroom. I catch a glimpse of the insides of his ears, which are bright red. The door snaps shut again. We both stare at the door a while before Jenna speaks up again. If Flynn can keep his mouth shut until the end of the week, then we might just be able to get through this. I stare out the window as we roll down the dusty streets of Echo. Honestly, it doesn't look much worse off than how I left it. The roads might be a little worse, but I assume that's because they haven't done any maintenance since winter. I'm regretting not letting him know we're coming, you know? You'll be lucky if he even gets his ass out of bed. We'll call him then. And what if he doesn't answer? Leo doesn't say anything, instead focusing back on the road. TJ fills the silence after a while. Well, I don't think it's too weird. It's just like we're hanging out again. Nothing wrong with that. Sure, but making it about Carl is just weird. Maybe if his birthday was like next week, 2 weeks tops. Oh, hush, Flynn. It'll be just like we're hanging out. You acting weird about it isn't going to help anything. The car starts slowing down, and I snap out of my daydreaming to look up, knowing that we definitely aren't at Carl's house yet. That's when I see a round canine figure. Her standing further up the side of the road. She's... Oh no. Oh no, oh no. She's standing in the dirt that separates the road and the field in front of a broken and rusted barbed wire fence. I think that's Janice. Oh no. Oh no. I look over at Leo and he seems concerned. His brow is furrowed as he carefully steers the car right up next to the coyote. I can see why. She's crouched over, elbows on her knees, staring at the ground. Roll down your window, Chase. I do as he says, struggling a little with the old crank handle. The hell is she doing out here? We come to a stop next to the coyote, kicking up some dust. I don't know. Hey! Leo leans over me and smiles out at Janice, who's still looking at the ground. Everything all... Leo's voice cuts off in a weird choking sound. I look at him confused and look back out the window and I can't help myself. But I gasp. It was hard to tell from the angle and all the dust kicked up by the van, but now I can see that Janice has her pants down around her thighs. And I can also see everything else. I sit back quietly and avert my eyes, looking out the windshield instead. What the fuck? Oh my god, Leo, keep going. Jana whispers it, her voice strained. Oh, sorry, Leo stops talking and I chance a glance out the window again. Janice is looking at us now, and she's smiling. It's a weird smile because it isn't touching her eyes. It's unnerving. Leo stares back. Leo, go. I hiss out the side of my mouth, staring out the windshield again. He seems reluctant to, though, looking concerned. Janice, do you need some help? His tone is one you might use on a toddler, or a crazy person. I don't hear her say anything except maybe a grunt. Leo bravely keeps trying, though. We can give you a ride. Leo stops talking in time for me to hear a pattering sound. It's a sound I recognized well back from when I would take a piss on the dirt roads of Echo when no one was around. The van lurches forward, then resumes a smoother acceleration back onto the empty road. Holy shit, what the fuck was that? I don't... Leo's frowning, looking as confused as I've ever seen him. Should I go back? No. I look back and see TJ covering his face. Maybe she could be having some kind of psychotic episode. Or maybe she just had to piss. I don't think so. Did you see the way she looked at me? She was probably just on something. Isn't everyone? No, she doesn't do stuff like that. Well, maybe she does. You never know with people. Again, Leo doesn't say anything, and neither does anyone else. I glance back at TJ, who's sitting in the very back seat with Jenna. He's got his ears down, looking into his lap where he's fidgeting with his hands. I know he's probably thinking the same thing I am, which is that we're supposed to help Janice with her spring cleaning or whatever. I want to ask him about it, but the dead silent van is making me feel like now isn't the best time. I fucking told you. Leo stabs the doorbell again, frustration etched across his face. Can you please keep the cursing down just a little bit? I can't help but notice TJ wince at every F-bomb. He's been keeping his distance from Flynn, always standing on the opposite side of our little group. I shift the bag I'm carrying around in my hands, trying to look through the frosted glass on the sides of the door. Maybe he's getting high. He should still be able to hear. I mean, maybe he just doesn't want to. TJ holds up his phone. He's not answering his phone either. Leo knocks on the door hard, his biceps bulging. Well, I guess breaking the door might get us inside. Leo stands back, paws on his waist as he takes a deep breath. He's determined, and I guess he should be considering he set all of this up. We should have just told him to meet us at the diner or something. Do they lock their windows? What? Leo growls. It's not like we're breaking in. TJ's ears pin back, a frown on his face. Wolf puts a paw to his forehead, closing his eyes. Sorry, but I think he's just asleep and it shouldn't be too hard to just get in there and wake him up. I look over at the side of the house and see a window shoot well. I point at it. What about that? Too small. I could probably fit. She hops off the front porch and crouches down next to the window, pushing at it. Wait, there's a security sticker here. Well, you gotta arm it first, and Carl's such a lazy ass, I know he didn't. Besides, if we set it off, we can just run. It's not like they'll show up anytime soon. Jenna hesitates, then pushes out the window again, but it doesn't budge. Locked. Let's try the one above it. That's too high. I'll boost you up. I think this is going a little too far. Leo ignores him and stands next to the window before making a platform for Jenna's foot with his paws. Steadying herself with her paws against the wall of the house, Leo easily lifts Jenna and she manages to grab the ledge. Fucking hell, this is so fucking stupid. Flynn mutters next to me, but I ignore him. Jenna pushes against the window and it glides open easily. Yes! Now I'm gonna boost you all the way up. Hold on. Careful. Like there's some kind of cheerleading duo, Leo shoves Jenna all the way up with one paw and she disappears through the window. Her bushtail is the last thing we see until she pokes her head back through. Kitchen. I fell in the sink. Great. Now unlock the door. She disappears again and we make our way back to the front door. Leo, you're fucking crazy. If you don't shut your fucking mouth, then I'll kick you right in your vag. Sound good? Jesus, calm your... Leo turns on him, one foot in front of the other. Flynn shuts up. TJ's eyes are wide, even though he's staring down at the steps. I want to put my arm around him. Finally, we hear the door rattling and it opens. Called his name, but he didn't answer. Well, he's got to be here. It's not like he can go anywhere, or would want to. Carl's house is as massive and immaculate as I remember it. It is a mansion, after all. Well, maybe less immaculate than I remember. There are a few wrappers and pizza boxes on the marble counter. I assume that's because Carl's parents aren't here to tell him not to be a slob. Flynn immediately heads up the stairs. Yo, Carl! I set the bag down on the table and TJ sets the cake there too. I look over at him. You alright? I'm good. Why? Just asking. So... I rub the back of my head trying to think of how to bring it up. What is it? Janice. Oh, yeah. TJ mirrors my pose, rubbing behind his own head. I'm actually really worried about her. I mean, should we still go? TJ looks at me surprised. Of course! Especially now! We need to make sure she's okay. Oh yeah, maybe we should. I actually don't feel like we need to do that at all, considering she's probably just really, really high. I was going to suggest that we could at least postpone the visit until tomorrow so she had time to come down. But TJ's shock at my suggestion has me holding my tongue for now. Chase, you check in the back. TJ, downstairs. Leo barks at us before hustling past toward the hallway. We both look at each other before I shrug and head for the back door. I stare out the glass window on the door for a while, wondering why Carl would even be out there. The old playset with swings is gone, and so is the treehouse I used to be in one of the two trees. The branch near the base of the tree that we used to use as a step has been cut away too. Carl and I used to play up in that treehouse all the time when we were younger. I open the door and step out onto the concrete steps. I feel a pang of sadness seeing it gone. I had a lot of memories up there. I remember the day when we started building it. I mean, Carl's dad had built the base of it, but left the rest up to us. Duke, the old weasel, had a pile of random junk in his backyard, and he gave us permission to take from it as long as we cleaned it all up. I'd told TJ that if we cleaned up the pile, my dad would take us to the movies that night. We pretended to help clean up even though we were just taking what we wanted for the treehouse. We hauled it away in a wagon, telling TJ that we were taking it to the corner for recycling or something, and that he should keep going. Of course, we didn't go back. I don't know why I thought we'd get away with that. Apparently TJ was there for 3 more hours before Duke came out and found out what happened. I was grounded for the longest that I'd ever been. I cringed and closed my eyes, face getting hot at the memory of being forced to apologize to TJ. Fucking asshole. I mumble it to myself. We were especially cruel to TJ those couple of years. It was probably because of the age difference. Me and Carl had been 10, TJ was 8. For some reason, 2 years felt like 2 decades when you're that old. Still, there isn't really an excuse for how shitty I was to him. Even after that happened, we never let him up into the treehouse. I was a real shitty kid, but I know TJ doesn't hold it against me. Still, the idea of taking advantage of TJ's trusting nature is just so terrible. I sigh, giving the rest of the yard a cursory glance even though I know Carl's not out here. I'm a little worried, but I'm sure there's some sort of explanation for where he's gone. I turn back around, deciding to help with the search inside. That's when I see a flash of a fat orange and gray tail disappearing down the downstairs steps. I blink. Jenna walks past. I'm gonna go look in the garage. I don't think he's even in the house, though. Okay. As Jenna heads for the garage door, I head for the stairs. The cool air wafting up from the dark hallway ahead of me is a marked contrast to the heat from outside. I fan out my shirt a bit as I look at the multiple doors lining the hallway. The only open one is at the end of the hall, though, and I can hear a low voice coming from it. It's Flynn's for sure. As I pad up to the opening, I can start to make out what he's saying. But I just wanted you to know that I'm not mad at you, okay? I don't hear a response as I stand just outside the door. From here, all I can see is a few cardboard boxes and a neatly made bed that probably hasn't been touched in years. A guest/storage room? Come on, man. I'm trying. I was mad yesterday and I shouldn't have fucking sent that. Flynn's voice comes from further into the room, on my left. I grit my teeth, wavering between going in now or just hoping for the best and letting it play out. I need to go. I was just trying to figure out. Don't! I hear some rustling in the room, and that's when I realize that I have to step in. I hold on to the door frame as I poke my head in. TJ? Flynn has TJ backed up against what looks like doors to a closet. TJ's cowering in the corner while Flynn has a hand on the Lynx's shoulder, grabbing onto the fabric of his shirt. You get your crusty, dusty hands off the baby. TJ's ears are pinned flat against his head, and he's looking up at Flynn with a grimace. Then his eyes flick to mine as he notices me. Let me talk for a sec. Flynn notices TJ staring over his shoulder, and he jerks his head in my direction. The second he sees me, his hand drops away from TJ's shoulder. We stare at each other for a few seconds, and I swallow loudly. You guys find Carl? My question sounds all the more stupid in the dead silence that follows. Flynn's gaze drifts to the wall over TJ's head, where he stares coldly for a few seconds, his jaw working furiously. I start to worry he's summoning up another one of his tantrums. Instead, after about 5 seconds, he turns on his heel and stalks out of the room. I have to move out of the way as he brushes past me. When I look back into the room, TJ's already moved to stand in front of a mirror on the wall. He straightens out his shirt and vigorously combs the fur on his face. He does a weird back and forth on his cheek ruffs with one of his hands, even though they look fine to me. TJ? TJ snaps his head in my direction, one of his ears twitching. Are you okay? I'm okay. TJ says it fast and loud, giving his shirt one last tug. Let's keep looking for Carl. He makes a point of looking around the room. I don't think he's here. As he moves past me to leave the room, I grab his arm. He jumps and looks back at me, eyes wide. I quickly let him go, realizing just how closely I'm mimicking what Flynn had done just a minute ago. Do you want to talk? No. I blink in surprise. No, I don't want to talk about it. Sorry. His ears are down again, and he's looking at the floor. Let's just keep looking. He turns away again, and I feel like I should say something more. I want to make him feel better, get him away from Flynn. Do you want to go for a walk or something? TJ turns back around to stare at me questioningly. I mean, to keep looking for Carl. He's not in the house, so maybe he's gone somewhere around town? TJ nods in understanding, the distressed look melting off his face. Oh, that could be a good idea. We should tell Leo. I feel a surge of relief at having been able to distract TJ, and now I want to keep that going. Luckily, we don't see Flynn on the way out. A distracted and frustrated Leo quickly waves us off as he continues his search in the ground floor bedrooms. Probably got high and passed out somewhere. He mutters absent-mindedly as we head out the door. I immediately realize what a bad idea it is when I step out into the sun. TJ, on the other hand, brightens up the second we step out of the mansion. That, and at least makes me feel a little bit better. We walk in silence for the first few minutes, looking at the rolling hills and mountains, cactus and sagebrush. It's one of those days where I'm not sure if the heat is worse coming from the sun above me or the baking black asphalt under my feet. How's school going for you? I blink out of my burning alive trance and try to focus on the question. Oh, it's okay, just kind of tedious, you know? At the same time, I get a pang of panic realizing how much work still needed to be done on my project. I'm able to convince myself that I still have half the week. I'll figure something out. What about you? It's great! Athletic training, right? Yep. No, it's not athletic training, it's Bible Olympics. Get it right, Chase. So what exactly do you do? Train people for sports? TJ laughs. Well, it's more to do with injuries, recognizing them, preventing them, treating them if I can. I didn't know that's what you do. So are you like a doctor or something? He laughs again, but like always, TJ's able to do it in a way that you know he's not laughing at you. Definitely not. That would be really hard. I guess you could say an athletic trainer is like a healthcare professional. Cool. I try to keep from panting. I thought you would have been more into like coaching or something. You like sports? TJ shakes his head. No, I'd be terrible at that. I can't yell at people all day. Is there even a degree for coaching? I think most people that want to coach just get a teaching degree in history, so they can teach. I make air quotes. At a high school while also coaching. They teach to coach. Oh yeah, that's how it was at our school. I step on a particularly sharp rock and bite my lip to keep from yelling. I really just wanted to do something involving athletics. Do you like it? The whole athletic training thing? Yeah, well, it is my first year, so who knows, but I think I do. So you just like helping people. That and I just like sports. TJ's quiet for a second. It probably sounds silly, but it seems to make life seem more simple. Sports? Yeah, you're exercising. There's a goal and something in your way like the other team, or a big hill. TJ flicks a pebble up from the ground and catches it on the top of his foot before launching it down the road. And your only job is to get around that to get to your goal. The Lynx laughs. I don't know if that makes any sense. I think it does. Kind of like that with video games, I guess. I can see that. I try to kick up a pebble onto the top of my foot like TJ did, but I end up just kicking it off to the side of the road. How did you do that? Oh, I just got lucky that time. Usually it doesn't work. I am on the soccer team, though. I think about how I didn't even bother trying out for my school's swim team for otters. I already knew how mediocre I was, but I also just like being on the side of a field with all the cheering and lights. It's fun. As we continue down the road, we walk past the charred foundations of an old trailer. While the brush has mostly grown back, scorched earth and black sagebrush skeletons still remain. At that moment, my phone goes off and I pull it out, having to cut my hand over the top so I can see the screen under the bright sun. It's a text from Leo. Found him. Hey, they found Carl. Oh, where? He didn't say, just that they found him. Well, that's great. Yeah. A smile as a little ball of tension in my chest that I didn't even know was there dissipates. Great, where was he? I look back over my shoulder in the mansion resting at the base of the mountains. The distance and heat making it hazy. I really don't want to walk all the way back. Maybe he just took a walk like us and got back. Maybe. My phone buzzes in my hand as I get another response from Leo. No party. Carl isn't feeling good. I frown. What? Said Carl isn't feeling good, so there's not going to be a party. Oh. TJ looks back at the mansion with me, airing out his shirt with both hands while he does. As much as it sucked for me to be under this sun, it's always worse for TJ with that thick fur. I copy him, airing out my own shirt, starting to feel self-conscious again about my musk. Should we head back? I hope he's okay. I think about all the shitty tension going on back there and grimace. I don't know, we could do something else? TJ appears to think, his hands on his hips. Then his face lights up. Hey, Janice's house is right down the road. We can get a head start on the work. Oh. I'd almost forgotten about that. While I definitely planned to go, I didn't want to now, under this heat. TJ jumps in place like he's warming up for a game. It'll feel good to do something after sitting around all day. I stare at TJ, absolutely baffled by his enthusiasm. What? I mean, well, first of all, it's work. Second, aren't you worried about how she's going to be when we get there? I stare down the road at the approximate sign where we'd seen her just an hour ago. She's not there now, obviously, but the memory still sends chills up my spine. Well, I want to make sure she's okay, too. I don't know, we should give her at least a few hours to recover. TJ stops bouncing and rubs his arm. Sorry, if you don't want to, I can just go. I glare at him. Oh, don't guilt me. I'm not. I just don't want you to be mad at me. I stretch, feeling sweat trickling down the sides of my face. We could wait until evening at least. Yeah, I guess we could do that. The disappointment on TJ's face is so obvious there's no way he's not doing it on purpose. Okay, so what if she opens the door and she's still got her pants down? TJ blanches. Chase! I'm just saying. That's what could happen. There's no telling what she's on. Janice isn't like that. So maybe she was just having some sort of episode. Everyone's crazy here. All the more reason to check on her. I rub my face. Come on. It's fine. I can just go. TJ folds his arms and leans in closer. Or maybe, she just had to pee. He whispers the last few words like they're the worst cuss words in the world. I snort and close my eyes. Fine. I rub the back of my hand across my forehead. But if I have a heat stroke, it's all on you. Oh gosh, don't say that. If you feel dizzy or sick, you're going inside. The thought of sitting inside with Janice while I cool down is almost as unbearable as the thought of manual labor. Still, TJ looks happy, which is worth it, I guess. Well, I gotta say, I didn't expect you two down here this early. We follow the old coyote around the side of the house, weaving through sagebrush and tumbleweeds. It's a bit hot right now, but if you're feeling up to it... Yeah, we just didn't have much else to do today. Janice, as far as I can tell, has been acting completely normal. I at least expected her to be embarrassed knowing what she'd done in front of us, assuming she remembered it at all. I'm fine with not ever bringing it up again, though, and I'm sure TJ feels the same way. Once we reach the back of Janice's house, I'm amazed to see a pile of tumbleweeds maybe 10 feet high against the house. The pile sticks out another 5 feet from the wall. Whoa. Janice puts her hands on her hips, looking at the mess. Whoa is right. Been a few years since I got around to doing this. Can't see out the back window anymore. Janice chuckles. TJ claps his hands and smiles. This won't be hard at all. I feel like he's saying that for my sake. It's so hot. I just want to lay down and die right here in the dirt. Should be pretty quick. That's why I got another job. Corner of my eye twitches. Janice turns to point out towards her backyard. Or at least that would be her backyard if there was a fence or something to separate it from the wilderness beyond. See that pile of wood there? She indicates what is indeed a pile of old crumbling wood. Used to be a shed there. Been there for God knows how long. Boys mind salvaging the good bits for firewood? Janice turns back to the small, shack-like abode that is her house. You can pile it up against the side of the house. I give TJ the dirtiest look I can while he helplessly tries to keep a smile on for Janice. She shields her eyes against the sun. Wow, it is a real scorcher today. I'll have lemonade made in a few. And with that, Janice heads back around the house, her heavy footsteps crunching through the brush. We're quiet for a few minutes, both staring at the pile of tumbleweeds. She seems okay. I crouch in the dirt, putting my head in my hands. I think she just had an embarrassing moment and acted awkward about it. I do it all the time. I don't say anything. Chase, are you okay? I shake my head silently. It's not that bad. We can do this. I sigh, deciding whether or not I'm actually going to leave TJ then come back when it's not so hot. That's when I hear running water. I look up and see a grinning TJ standing at the corner of the house holding up a green hose. Water trickles out the metal-capped end. Thought I forgot about you and water. Remember, every 15 minutes at least. Despite my bad mood, I can't help but smile a little at his continued enthusiasm. I stand up and walk over to the hose, taking it from TJ and letting the icy water run over my head while he looks on approvingly. I have to keep myself from moaning at how good it feels. Once I'm done, I look back at the pile of tumbleweeds. So, what are we supposed to do with all these? She didn't tell us where to put them. We'll just throw them off to the side. The wind will take care of them. So we set off to work. Janice had at least left gloves for us so we didn't have to worry about getting anything sharp going through our hands. I still get poked through my shirt, or even in the fence if I pull one out awkwardly, or even in the face. TJ, I can't help but notice, is a lot faster than I am. He's working at a quick and steady pace, not caring at all when a tumbleweed hits him in the face. I get a few more messages from Leo asking where we are. When I tell him, he doesn't reply. Soon enough, I'm sweating buckets, dark circles forming under my arms and around my neck. 10 minutes in, and I have to take off my shirt, letting it hang on a rusty metal outcrop under the window. I notice TJ giving me sidelong glances after I do. I grin at him. What? Enjoying the show? TJ jumps. What? No! TJ quickly looks away again, working faster than ever on the tumbleweeds, which are already half gone at this point. I notice he's got the same sweat stain pattern as I did. Hey, you can take yours off too. It feels really good. TJ stops and pants for a while, staring at the rest of the tumbleweeds. I mean, might as well do it now. Still have a ton of wood to move after this. He flicks his ears and I can see him blushing. Are you embarrassed? Don't you shower naked with other dudes at school? Well, yeah, but what? TJ huffs and finally pulls his shirt off, forcing a smile as he goes over to hang it up next to mine. I notice that he does it with crossed arms, the way girls do. There. Happy? What's with you and being all weird about having your shirt off? You were the same way this morning. TJ sighs. I was trying not to make it weird, but you two were just staring at me when I opened the door. I laugh and TJ puts his hands on his hips. Just remember that when we're done, we're going to have to check our torsos for ticks too. Oh yeah. That dampens my spirits. Man, this sucks. TJ pants quietly for a few seconds. It is a little hot. So you do admit this was a bad idea? No, I mean, maybe. But at least we'll have the evening to do something once we finish, right? He smiles at me hopefully. That does brighten my mood a little. Want to go to the diner? TJ smiles before bending over towards the tumbleweeds again. Yeah, sure. I was wanting to I jump a foot into the air, almost falling into the tumbleweeds. Go, go, go! TJ's off like a bullet, running away from the pile in my direction. Confused, I jump out of his way, then follow him to the side of the house as I look to where he'd been standing. I don't see anything, but his reaction is enough to get the fur standing up on the back of my neck. TJ comes to a stop toward the front of the house. What the hell? What happened? I finally catch up to him, panting under the heat. TJ's gasping too, but probably more out of fear. A tarantula! A reflexive shiver runs up my body and I wring my hands out. No. I'm suddenly very conscious of everything around me, all the little twigs and branches of the sagebrush looking like spiders. Are you sure? Yes! TJ's voice is high-pitched and squeaky as he shakes his hands. He's laughing to himself nervously. I was reaching down for another one, and when I touched it, it moved, and it was a giant freaking spider. TJ must be really freaked out because I rarely hear him even use even that word. We both stand there for a minute, and TJ looks towards the back of the house again, biting his lip. There's something a bit off with the way he's acting, though. Maybe a little over-exaggerated. I narrow my eyes. Is this another prank? Ha! No! TJ looks back at me and shakes his head, his eyes wide. It was right there. It's probably still there now. Dude, you better not be joking around with me on this. I'm gonna make the rest of today so much worse. He shivers again, but I'm still suspicious. TJ could be a good actor when he wanted. It was definitely a tarantula. The front door suddenly opens and Janice pokes her head out. Oh my stars! Who are these two handsome young men in my yard? The old coyote comes out, looking us up and down, especially TJ. Lynx notices and grips an arm with one of his hands, as if trying to cover up under her gaze. And what's with all that hollering? I frown at the old coyote's forwardness. I look at TJ, but he doesn't say anything. TJ says he saw a tarantula. Janice claps a paw to the side of her face. Well, I'll be darned. A blonde? Maybe. I've never seen one before. Well, they're all over around here. You just never see them because they only come out at night. Janice shields her eyes again. This time of day is way too hot for him. He's probably a huntsman. All this talk about spiders is making me want to just walk the fuck back to the motel right now. It wasn't. TJ mumbles next to me, but I don't think Janice hears him. Just wanted to let you two know that I made some lemonade and I have some cookies in the oven too. I fucking love Janice. TJ forces a smile onto his face. Aw, thank you, Janice. She grins at him. You are just the most adorable thing. She moves forward to pinch his cheek ruffs, and somehow he manages to stay smiling while she does it. Finally, Janice bustles back inside as I give TJ a long look. He throws his hands up in the air. I'm not lying! I can see him turning red under his fur, so I leave it for now. We look around for a while, but can't find any trace of the spider. Getting back to work is difficult, and I keep jumping at the sight of anything long and spindly. Which, when you're clearing out tumbleweeds, is everything! On top of that, I see several smaller spiders, and every time I do, I jump and run a few steps away before I try to shoo them off. TJ recovers a lot faster, though, and pretty soon he's tossing out tumbleweeds at the same pace he was earlier. This makes me even more suspicious. Anyway, it's not a bad sight. TJ's way more in shape than I am, the tightened muscles in his back easily standing out and gliding under the fur. I catch myself staring several times, and I'm pretty sure he does too. Once we're almost finished, I have to straighten up, pushing my hands into my lower back to make it crack. Sore? A little bit. TJ tosses out one of the last tumbleweeds before walking up to my side. Does it always hurt? He puts a hand on my lower back and starts sliding it around. Not really. Just when I'm bending over and stuff. He's quiet for a moment, teasing through the fur on my back. I start to blush, but that's when he applies some pressure to a muscle. Bravo. Fucking bravo. Start to blush, but that's when he applies some pressure to a muscle. I grimace and arch. Wow, that's stiff. I hiss and try to writhe away, but he puts a hand on my shoulder to hold me in place. He giggles. Hold still for a second. Well, when you're digging in like that, that's because you're all tensed up. Just relax. I try to do as he says, even though it's extremely uncomfortable. So otters are known for having bad backs. I know. My dad can barely move these days. That's terrible. I shrug. He still gets around, just needs pain meds, which you don't want to have to rely on. My shoulder bumps TJ's chest and his long whiskers brush my ear. It's the short legs and long back. Rude. You have to bend over more than most of us, keep a good posture, and lift heavy things with your knees. His fingers dance a bit lower before pulling back. You'll thank yourself 20 years from now when you're not in constant pain. I put both my hands on my back, feeling warm and a lot more loose. Hey, I actually do feel a little better. Great. I'm impressed with how much TJ knows about otters. He probably knows the same amount about all the other species too. You know, you're really smart. TJ ducks his head modestly. Oh, I'm just repeating what I've learned. I mean, I forget everything I learned within a week. I do too sometimes, just have to keep studying until it sticks. TJ looks around. Actually, I really wish you could lay down somewhere, then I could give you a real massage. That would be amazing. I could give you one tonight when we're back at the motel. You sure? The thought has me feeling warm, and not just in my back. Of course! I mean, I did sort of drag you out here. Don't worry about it, it's actually kind of nice. I haven't done work like this in a few years. TJ smiles back at me. It is, isn't it? He leans back and stretches, and I have to force myself not to stare at his arching torso. I think that's it for the tumbleweeds, though. I look a little forlornly at the pile of boards. TJ follows my gaze and gives me a sympathetic smile. Remember, with the knees. TJ says it brightly as he marches over to the pile. We find out pretty quickly that while there aren't any tarantulas, the ruins of the shed are infested with spiders. Several of them black widows. Because those are actually dangerous compared to blondes, TJ goes in to ask Janice for bug spray. I go back to water myself again with the hose, letting the freezy water run down the sides of my head and off my snout. Fucking spiders fucking everywhere. I shiver again. I've been uptight ever since TJ had faked seeing that tarantula. I stand back up, letting the water run down my back and front, sighing at how good it feels. I hear the front door open and shut and the sound of TJ's footsteps coming around the house. Looking back down at the still running water hose in my hand, I smirk. TJ did start this little prank war, so I don't feel too bad for what I'm about to do. I press myself against the side of the house, making sure there aren't any spiders first. The second I see the lynx's foot step out from the corner, I swing the hose up. My original intention had been to wet the front of his pants so that it looks like he pissed himself. Unfortunately, he's too far away from the house, so instead he's left staring at me while an arch of water falls short of him by a good 3 feet. He's holding stuff, but I don't take the time to see what it is before I press my thumb to the opening of the hose, then to spray straight into TJ's face. TJ gasps like he just fell into ice water and stumbles back, almost tripping. I laugh. Chase, what the heck? I finally cut the stream of water, revealing a furiously blinking and dripping lynx. In one hand is a broom, and in the other is a plate of what probably used to be cookies. Oh my god, they look kind of mushy now. Aw, crap. TJ drops the broom to examine his plate of cookies. He tips it to the side and lets a stream of murky, crumb-filled water slosh out from the plate. He smelled so good, too. I walk over and take the plate from him. Well, the ones on the top aren't so bad, just a little soggy. TJ wrinkles his nose. Just throw them out into the desert. I'd feel bad if Janice saw. I pick up a cookie and take a bite. It's a bit soggy on the surface, but it's warm and gooey in the center. TJ looks at me in horror. Chase! What? This tastes freaking amazing. Quit being so uptight and take a bite. I take another. Stop! What if that's irrigation water? That makes me pause for a second, but I shrug. I swallowed water all the time when I swam in the lake. I wonder right after I said that if I shouldn't be mentioning the lake at all around TJ, but he just shakes his head, making his way around me. If you start throwing up tonight, then we'll know why. But I have you to take care of me, doctor. I don't know much about actually being sick. He watches me anxiously as I take another bite. Still, it really is good. I point out the broom in the dirt. What's with the broom? TJ bends down to pick it up. Janice didn't have any bug spray, so she said to brush off the boards with this. I groan. I was thinking you could do the brushing and I'll do the lifting since your back is sore. I groan. Don't worry, Janice says if we get bit to let her know so she can take us to the hospital. Comforting. Yeah, listen, I'm sorry about all of this. I didn't know it was going to be so tough on you. I swallow guiltily. I'm mostly joking. It's just how spidery it is that's the worst part. I'll buy at the diner when we're finished, okay? I smile at him. I'm not hurting for money at all, but I know it'll make TJ feel better if I let him. Alright, that's a deal. It's afternoon at this point, the sun low enough that Janice's house is casting a shadow across the backyard. Of course, that shadow is a good few feet away from where we're working. I set to work trying to sweep away spiders, their egg sacs, and all kinds of other bugs while TJ grabs the big boards and drags them across the yard. I'm pretty bad at it, trying not to yelp when I jerk the end of the broom back and forth like an idiot. TJ tells me several times that I can sit it out, but I'd feel way too guilty if I did. At one point, I almost flick a spider onto TJ, which sends him screaming. But several apologies and nervous laughs later, we're back at it. It takes a lot longer than it should, mainly because of all the sweeping I'm doing, but a few hours later, we're down to the last few boards. Most of what's left is rotting, crumbling wood. TJ wipes a hand across his forehead. Well, I'd say this is the last one. I give the board a cursory brush, happy to not see any spiders on this one. Hey, I was thinking, you want to go on another hike tomorrow? We could invite the others to go with us. TJ looks up at me. You sure? I thought you didn't like it. Again, I complain a lot. I had fun. TJ smiles. Well, alright. That'd be awesome. He's grinning now, and that makes me feel even better. Alright, let's get this done and we can go to the diner and plan it out. Sounds like a plan. With that, TJ flips the board and reveals a massive tarantula. 8 beady black eyes reflect the sun and soon I'm almost blinded by it. They bore into me and the spider turns slowly, crab-like on its legs, so it can face me. My stomach turns and the ground tilts. I feel like I'm falling off the edge of the world. I grab for something, anything, but all there is air around me, and I fall into darkness. Just count when the shoulders are down, alright? I feel like water's rushing through my ears and I have to widen my stance to keep from falling. Are you listening? Huh? Chase. What? Try to focus on the kid in front of me. Did you die or something? I don't know. I was just thinking of something else. You're dumb. You're dumb. I don't feel good. Toby stands there with his arms around his stomach, his ears down. Quit being a baby, Toby. Just one more round. I don't want... Go. Sydney grabs Toby by the shoulders and sticks a leg out between his legs. TJ is easily tripped and goes down on his back in the dirt. I get the feeling that the lynx is purposely losing so he can be done with it. Sydney doesn't like that and tries to pull TJ back up before rolling the lynx onto his stomach. He yanks on Toby's ears. Ow! I step closer. Okay, Sydney wins. I raise a hand and point it at Sydney, just wanting this to stop. Sydney keeps going and grabs his shirt that he'd thrown on the ground earlier and wraps it around Toby's neck. Sydney! Hardcore rules. It's all legal. Come on. Toby grabs at his neck and his eyes widen as Sydney leans back, pulling Toby's head back with him. The lynx's arms flail around, his mouth wide open. I stand there, confused. Is it okay if it's not against the rules? Sydney laughs and leans even further back, looking excited and happy. Toby stares at me with wide, bulging eyes. Stop! I reach forward and grab onto TJ. Chase, can you hear me? TJ's looking down at me with his wide blue eyes. Toby? What? I blink up at him, feeling sick. TJ feels my head, then stands up and starts pulling me along the ground. What are you... Gotta get you inside. He grunts as he pulls me, and that's when my stomach lurches and I roll over and vomit up all the cookies. Crap! I can hear TJ starting to panic, so I grab at him. I have to cough and spit several times before I can speak. No, I'm fine. Don't freak out. No, you're not. Can you stand up? Yeah, I'm good. I get up on wobbly but stable enough legs. TJ puts an arm around me. We're calling an ambulance once we get inside. No, I'm alright. No, you're not alright. This is serious. He starts limping me towards the front of the house. I should have been keeping an eye on you. TJ's voice cracks and I stop him. Hey, look at me. I'm okay. I look him in the eyes and see tears threatening to spill over. I'm just really hungry and I stood up too fast. Then I got dizzy. TJ looks back at me, studying my face. Just don't call an ambulance for me. Not yet, at least. I force a laugh. Definitely can't afford that right now. TJ's quiet for a moment, then starts pulling me to the front again. We're getting you inside at least. I should never have had you work under this heat. I'm just tired. We should go back to the motel instead. Inside, now. Just in case. Janice is happy to let us sit on the couch for a while, drinking lemonade. TJ doesn't tell her what happened, but he glances at me every now and then, as if worried I'm going to faceplant off the couch. I feel a little bit dizzy, but otherwise fine. I keep thinking back to that tarantula, but TJ hasn't said anything about it, so I decide not to bring it up yet. Meanwhile, TJ is making awkward conversation with Janice. I lean my head back, hungry and tired. Mainly it's the wood chopping that'll be the hard part. My back isn't nearly as good as it once was. Oh yeah, I imagine. I guess I was hoping I could get just a little more help. Oh, if you didn't mind, of course. I lift my head from the couch to look at TJ. I got tomorrow off as well, and I'll be free to show you what needs to be done if you're willing. TJ's stuck with his mouth open, then he smiles. Of course! I frown. Janice beams at him. You are just a little lifesaver, Tobias. No problem, ma'am. And so proper, too. TJ avoids making eye contact with me, a smile plastered to his face all the while. Janice suddenly turns her gaze on me, and I'm forced to wipe the glare off my face. How were those cookies? Oh, good. They were good, huh, TJ? TJ, still smiling, just gives a curt nod. Good, good. My secret recipe. She winks at me, and I feel a little uncomfortable because the smile doesn't touch her eyes. It's a short walk to the diner, and I berate TJ the entire way. I'm sorry. She just sort of pushed it on me. You can always say no. I can't just say no. Or at least that you had other plans. TJ stays quiet as I push open the door to the diner. I was kind of looking forward to hanging out again. TJ keeps quiet as we sit down, so I give up and just lean my head back again, eyes closed. It's quiet for a few minutes before TJ finally speaks up. How are you feeling? I rub my eyes gently, a headache now replacing the dizziness that I'd felt earlier. Tired. My head hurts. I really shouldn't have done that. I'm so Stop apologizing, please. It's fine. It wasn't the heat. TJ frowns and sits back, looking out the window at the sunset. Sorry, I'm not mad. I just don't want to see you beat yourself up over it, you know? I don't tell him that his constant fretting and apologizing is grating on my headache. Well, make sure you try to eat. You might just need energy. Here's hoping. At that moment, a young stag that I vaguely recognize comes up to our table. It's weird seeing someone so young and fresh in Janice's position. Once he gets to our table, though, his eyes light up. Tej? TJ sits up suddenly, a big grin spreading across his face. Julian? Julian? It's been a while since I've seen him. He's bigger, and so are his antlers. I barely recognize him. And Chase, too. What in the world are you two doing here? Visiting. I didn't know you had a job here. That's cool. Julian grins. Not really, but it pays some of the bills. At that point, I phase out of the conversation, letting the two of them catch up. TJ had a lot of friends in high school. He had been technically popular. It's a good few minutes before the stag finally takes our orders. Once Julian bustles off to another table, TJ grins at me. Oh man, it's good to see him again. Yeah, that's cool. With the stag gone, the awkward silence quickly closes in on us again. I'm too tired to do much about it, though. I lean my head back again, closing my eyes, feeling like I might fall asleep right there. So, I open them and see TJ looking at me before he quickly looks away again. What? He fiddles with the stack of napkins. You called me Toby earlier. Did I? But I remember even as I say it. Yeah. TJ forces a laugh. It's been years since you called me that. Yeah. We're quiet for a moment. So why did you call me that? I don't know. Guess I was just a little loopy after passing out. I eye him carefully. Do you mind if I call you that? TJ is fine. So yes. I study TJ, the way he sort of hunched in on himself, his ears twitching. Are you okay? Yeah, I'm fine. I go back and forth between deciding if I should bring up the whole Flynn incident or not. Despite his best efforts, TJ isn't fooling anyone that he's not bothered by what happened. Of course he would be. Do you want to talk about what happened on Monday? TJ's quiet for a moment, and I kick myself. I'm given a little more time to think of what I'm going to say next as Julian brings our food and strikes up another conversation. TJ, again, is easily able to slip into a smile and chat away with the stag. The smell of the burger has my mouth watering, and it's incredible when I take a bite. It's striking how easy it is for TJ to just put on a smile and act cheerful. It makes me wonder how much of it is actually genuine. I'm almost halfway done with my burger by the time Julian is angrily calling back to the kitchen by the cook. TJ goes quiet again and starts plucking out a salad. I swallow and set down the burger, my stomach turning a bit at what I'm planning to say. I was thinking about this before we got here. About what? That maybe we could use the time we have here to remember what happened, to find... TJ finally looks at me, and the sadness I see in his eyes makes my heart plummet. Find closure? TJ's quiet, staring at his salad. I don't know, man. I just don't know how bad it is for you. Still, and I just want to figure out how we can... I search for the right words. Be at peace with it. TJ's still quiet. I don't know, man. I finally say and slump back in my booth, feeling like I ruined the evening. How would we do that? His tone is shaky but genuinely curious. I don't know. Talk about it? Talk about it with the others? Not Flynn, just the others. TJ looks out the window again. Maybe even go to the lake, talk about it there. I don't know. I almost choke on the word lake, still worried about saying it in front of TJ. Maybe. Maybe? TJ sighs and finally looks at me with a small smile. Maybe, but right now I just want to hang out with you and have a good time, okay? Okay. So stop being so angry. It's making me sad. I pick up my burger, my stomach loosening up enough that I feel like I can eat again. Sorry. I was just looking forward to... And stop apologizing! He says it with a smirk, then almost immediately frowns. I mean, sorry, that was rude. I laugh at him, and he smiles back. I take another bite and look out the window. I feel a lot better now, and now I'm pretty sure I only passed out because I didn't have any food in me. By the way, did you ever see that tarantula again, after the first time you saw it? TJ shudders. Ugh, no, thank goodness. I look out the window at the brilliant sunset. Ah, that's good. We are going to leave off here. Okay. We did a lot. But not going to get into it. Instead, I'll just leave you with stay safe and have a good night.